At 36, you stop falling fast. You've seen too much, felt too much, gotten burned enough times to keep one hand on the fire extinguisher. But when I met Harper, I didn't see the flames coming. She was unlike anyone I'd dated before. Tattooed, confident, sharp-witted. She worked as a freelance photographer. Artsy, chaotic schedule, wild stories from shoots in LA and Denver and random mountain towns. We met at a fundraiser for veterans, of all places. She was there taking photos. I was one of the speakers. She came up after my speech and said, "You don't look like a guy who knows how to smile, but you talk like one." That was it. I smiled. And I never stopped. Not around her. We started dating. She made me feel seen. Not just as a soldier or a guy with deployments under his belt, but as a person. She loved asking about my childhood, my scars, even the dumb stuff like what songs I listened to in high school. She told me early on she was bisexual. She said it casually over a Burgers in Colorado Springs. I just shrugged and said, "You're with me now. That's all that matters." She smiled. Exactly. For almost a year, it was great. We talked about moving in together. She even met my mother during a short visit home. Everyone liked her. And I started to believe I could finally put the past behind me. The breakups, the deployments, the emptiness. Harper made everything feel real. But something that good never stays that simple.
They say every betrayal leaves breadcrumbs. You just don't see them until you're choking on the whole loaf. The first sign? Her phone. The way it was always face down. Harper used to be open, carefree. She'd hand me her phone to play music or show me photos from her shoots. But around month 10, she got careful. Suddenly her phone was on silent, face down on the nightstand. She'd jump when notifications popped up. And if she was texting, she'd angle the screen away. I told myself not to be paranoid. I've seen relationships explode overseas because someone assumed too much. I didn't want to be that guy. I've trusted her. But trust isn't blind, and mine was starting to squint. Then there was Riley. Harper said she was just a friend from work, another photographer. Tall, athletic, platinum blonde, piercing laugh. They met at a shoot in Taos and hit it off. At first I didn't think much of it, but Riley started showing up a lot. Brunches, late-night drinks, creative collaborations that turned into 2 a.m. editing sessions. I'd ask how it went, and Harper would smile, tired, and say things like, "She just gets me, you know?" That line hit weird, because that used to be me. One night, Harper came home smelling like a mix of cheap tequila and some kind of citrusy perfume that wasn't hers. She crawled into bed and wrapped her arms around me. "You okay?" I asked. "Mm-hmm," she murmured into my chest. "Just tired. Don't want to talk." And I held her, even though I felt cold inside. Then came the conference in Portland. 3 days. Photo exhibit, industry mixers. She said it was work, pure and simple. I offered to fly out with her. Even said I'd get my own hotel if she wanted space. She laughed it off. "Babe, it's literally just boring lectures and wine with pretentious art guys. Trust me, you'd hate it." So I stayed. She posted one photo the whole trip. Her feet in a bathtub, glass of red wine on the edge. The caption said, "Resetting, recharging, reframing." But in the reflection on the wine glass, I could swear I saw a second pair of legs. I zoomed in. My heart pounded. couldn't tell. The angle was off, blurred, shadowy. But my gut screamed. And my gut's been right, more times than I'd like to count.
She was home when it happened. It wasn't some dramatic discovery. She literally asked me to help find an old folder of photos she'd misplaced on her iPad. Said it had edits from a recent shoot she needed to deliver. We were sitting on the couch. She was barefoot, drinking coffee, hair tied up, laughing about something meaningless. Just a regular morning. And then not. I opened her Files app, scrolled through some folders. Most were work stuff, weddings, portraits, landscapes. But some had weird names. R+H, Backup, Portland, Do Not Open. I wasn't snooping, I was helping. But the truth? It found me anyway. The first video opened automatically when I tapped the file. I didn't even know what I was watching at first. Dim lighting, hotel room, 2 women on a bed. One of them? Harper. Fully exposed. Laughing, confident, totally relaxed. The other, tall, platinum blonde, tattoo under her collarbone. Riley. The same Riley who'd been just a friend. They weren't drunk. They weren't experimenting. This wasn't some curious one-time thing. This was practiced, familiar, rehearsed. I couldn't look away. Harper looked right into the camera, smiled, moaned something I'd heard her whisper to me months ago. I paused the video and stared at the screen for what felt like hours. Heartbeat in my ears, throat dry. I didn't say anything to it right away. I just closed the file, tried to breathe. My hands were shaking. She was still talking, sipping her coffee like nothing happened. I clicked into another folder. H+S, LA. More videos. This time it wasn't Riley. It was a man. Younger, beard, gym-built. Definitely not someone I recognized. The video started with Harper setting up her phone on a dresser, adjusting the angle. She laughed, undressed, and said, "We've got 45 minutes." I watched the first 10 seconds, and that was enough. Same bed moves, same voice, same tone, same woman I thought was mine. There was nothing left to question. This wasn't about a mistake. This wasn't confusion or I was drunk or it just happened once. These were whole other lives she was living behind my back, with women and men, while I was planning our future. And she recorded it all. I set the iPad down, calmly. No screaming, no smashing anything. Just sat there, silent. She finally noticed. What's wrong? I turned to her. R+H? H+S? Want to explain? Her face dropped. Pale. She froze. Then, like flipping through a playbook, she cycled through every excuse. It's not what you think. You invaded my privacy. I was confused. I didn't plan for any of it. It's not like I don't love you. But love doesn't look like that. Love doesn't make secret folders. Love doesn't lie to your face while filming another life in a hotel bed. And that was the moment I knew. It wasn't just betrayal. It was identity fraud. The person I loved didn't exist. She was a mask, a role. And I'd fallen for the performance.
She followed me into the kitchen, still barefoot, now panicked. "You're scaring me," she said. "Just talk to me. Let's talk about this." I stayed silent, staring into the sink like it had the answers I didn't get from her. She kept going, pacing, stammering, searching for a way out. "It wasn't about you. It never was. I've always had this other side of me. You knew I was bi when we got together." I turned to her then, calm and slow, like the kind of quiet you only learn from war zones. Yeah, you told me you were bi. You didn't tell me you were also a liar, that you'd sleep with other people and film it like trophies. She blinked. That hit her. Good. I needed it to hit. I didn't mean to hurt you, she said. You were always gone. Training, deployments. You have a whole life I'm not part of. I laughed, not out of humor, but disbelief. You think I was gone? I let you into every part of my life. I gave you keys. I told you things I haven't told anyone. I introduced you to my family. I made space for you where there wasn't any. You were the one who disappeared. She sat at the table, head in hands, shaking now. It's not about not loving you. She kept saying that, like repeating it made it real. I do love you, she said, but I needed to feel seen. Riley sees me. Sean listens. It's different. It's not like what we have. Sean. That was his name. I didn't even ask. She just handed it over. Like a confession made the bleeding stop. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She was admitting it all, as if I was supposed to understand. As if some part of me was supposed to be okay with this double life. Her sleeping with another woman behind my back, then with a man while I was working 12-hour shifts at Fort Bragg. I clenched my jaw, looked her dead in the eye. You weren't alone. You were just bored. You wanted to have me and also your little sideshows. And the worst part? You acted like I was the bad guy for not seeing it sooner. She started crying harder, covering her face, repeating, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, like a scratched record. But it didn't mean anything. That word, sorry, it felt like duct tape on a sinking boat. I asked her one question, just one. If I hadn't found those videos, would you have ever told me? She didn't answer right away. She looked at the floor, wiped her eyes, and then, the worst part, she shook her head. No, she whispered. That, right there, that was the kill shot. Not the cheating, not the lying, not even the fact that she brought strangers into a bed we once shared. It was the choice to keep lying, to keep smiling at me, to keep kissing me, to keep pretending. She would have let me build a future on a foundation full of cracks and let me find out when it all collapsed. She begged me not to walk out. She tried to bargain. Let's go to therapy. Let's take a break. Let's reset. But I wasn't interested in rebuilding something I never really had. I wasn't angry anymore. Not in that moment. I was numb, like after a detonation, when your ears are ringing and all you hear is your heartbeat. I stood up, went to the bedroom, grabbed my go bag, not because I planned it, but because instinct takes over. I've walked out of worse. I can walk away from this. She followed me to the door. Where are you going? She asked. Away from you, and from whatever version of you I fell for. I opened the door, took one last look at her, makeup smudged, crying, shoulders shaking, and then I stepped into the hallway. She didn't follow. She didn't scream. Maybe she knew it was over. That night, I didn't go to a friend's place. I drove. For hours. No destination. Just silence, road noise, and the dull ache of watching something you loved rot from the inside. I didn't cry. I didn't even curse. I just kept thinking, how long was she going to lie? How many more people? How many more videos? It wasn't just a betrayal of trust. It was a betrayal of identity. The version of her I believed in, she never existed. She was a mask, a highlight reel, a curated lie with perfect lighting and emotional manipulation. And I'd loved her with everything I had. That part hurt most of all.
It's been a little over 9 months since I walked out of that apartment. No big blow-up, no dramatic screaming match. Just me, a go bag, a hallway that smelled like her shampoo,
and the quietest heartbreak I've ever known. Some betrayals don't explode, they erode you, slow and relentless. The first few weeks were mechanical. Wake up, gym, shower, work, sleep, repeat. I stayed in the barracks a while, took extra shifts, volunteered for every dumb detail no one else wanted, anything to avoid thinking, anything to keep moving, because stillness meant memories, and memories led back to her. People asked why we broke up. I gave them the short version. It didn't work out. Only one guy pressed, my buddy, Travis. He looked me in the eye one night after chow and said, "She cheat on you?" I didn't answer. Didn't have to. He just nodded and patted my shoulder. "That's on her," he said. "Not you." But part of me still wondered, was it me? Was I too much? Too focused on my job? Too emotionally distant? I'd always been the soldier who kept it together, not the guy who overshared or needed processing. And yet, there I was, some nights just sitting in my truck outside the gym, wondering how someone could tell me I was everything she ever wanted while letting someone else touch her behind my back. The hardest part wasn't the cheating. It was the lies after. The way she cried like a victim. The way she said, "I love you," like that made it okay. The way she would have kept lying if I hadn't opened that folder. There was a night, about 2 months after, when she texted me out of nowhere. Just one line. "I miss you. Please talk to me." I stared at it for a while. My thumb hovered over the screen. Then I locked the phone and threw it across the passenger seat. She had her chance, and she threw it away for moments of thrill with people who weren't building a future, just feeding on the present. Instead, I started rebuilding, quietly, on my own. I started running more, signed up for a Tough Mudder, then another, then a Spartan race. Started cooking again, real food, not just protein powder and energy bars. I reconnected with an old friend from my first unit, a guy named Marcus. He'd gone through something similar. We didn't talk about the pain much, just shared silence, workouts, and beers, and that helped more than therapy ever could. I also started dating again, slowly, carefully, without expectation. I met a woman named Alina at a friend's bar opening. She's a trauma nurse. Doesn't flinch when I go quiet, doesn't ask too much, but listens when I speak. She doesn't try to fix me, and more importantly, she doesn't lie. Do I still think about Harper? Yeah, sometimes. Usually when a certain song plays or I see a photo of the Tetons. She loved that place. But it's not anger anymore. It's not even sadness. It's just something that happened. A scar. Not bleeding, not fresh, just there. A reminder. You don't always get closure with words. Sometimes closure is walking away and refusing to turn around. I never looked at those videos again. I deleted them, not out of forgiveness, but because they don't define me. She made her choices, I made mine. And mine was this. I refused to let her lie become my story.